Welcome to Legal Dilemmas, where you will find clear, concise legal advice. My name is Brenda.
And my name is Safina.
Safina, today I would like to raise a really popular topic, and there's been lots of questions in our feed about this, and it's about human rights. I mean, that is a popular term used in media, in the press. It's very common. Lots of people refer to human rights. It's also summarised as ECHR, and there's always reference to Article 8. Can you elaborate and explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, as you know, Brenda, we're subject to the European Convention on Human Rights in this country, as you rightly identified, its shortened version being the ECHR. That whole convention is incorporated into our domestic law by virtue of the Human Rights Act 1998. And I'm sure all of our viewers know there's been lots of a discussion around the government should get rid of it because it gives people too many rights. And instead we should have a Bill of Rights situation like what we've got in America. And there is a lot of opposition to that because the ECHR gives us a lot of rights. And one of the most important rights it gives us, as you said, Brenda, is Article 8, which is the right to a private and family life. So here we're looking at private life, we're looking at family life, we're looking at your home and your correspondence. It is a qualified right. However, it can be unlawfully interfered with under certain conditions. Now, we're not going to go into the conditions because we'll be here forever. But if you have any questions around that, please do drop them in the comments. But I mean, essentially, Brenda, there's so many areas that it is relevant to.
Okay, so can you give some examples of where somebody might use this concept?
Yeah, so for example, the most popular area that it is used in, which is why they want to abolish the ECHR in the United Kingdom, is immigration law, where you're looking at the deportation and removal of family members. And in fact, we've recently had some of the Rotherham grooming gang and Telford gang where they're looking at deporting these people because they've committed serious crimes. And already people have been saying, well, what about, they shouldn't be allowed to rely on their Article 8 rights. And obviously, those are valid rights. They've got homes, they've got families here. So while the law is in force, it will apply.
Okay. Can you give any examples of where it may have been used?
Yeah, I mean, so that immigration law is one of the areas, but it can also be used in family law, Children Act proceedings, where you've got one parent who's, we've talked about the medical consent case, for example, in an earlier video, where you could have the child saying, well, these are my Article 8 rights, so, those shouldn't take any precedence over my parents' Article 8 rights, so you could have it in that. So it's about a balancing exercise. But alternatively, you've got like some of these celebrity cases, like Naomi Campbell, the famous model, and she had a case against Mirror Group newspaper, and that was when she came out of Narcotics Anonymous, looking at worse for wear. And I think the issue that was raised is, she went there for an anonymous meeting and details were disclosed within the press when photographs were published of her leaving. And I suppose the issue for the court was, well, she said my Article 8 rights were breached by the Mirror Group newspaper. And essentially the court said, well, you're in the public domain, so it's a public interest story. However, the fact that she had lied about her drug use was significant, but she shouldn't be limited in being able to engage with that kind of agency to get drug free. And also currently, Brenda, we've had recently the Meghan Markle case where the letter relating to her father, that was shared by the press. It was actually published, I think, by the Mail on Sunday. And she said that violated her Article 8 rights, and she did actually win because she said it was private information and she had a right to privacy. So yeah, it's a really important right.
That's interesting. It's a very wide topic, lots of scope for further discussion. If you do have any questions around this, please raise them in the comments box and we shall reply. And to listen to more great legal content, please like, subscribe and share Legal Dilemmas.